Cincinnati Bengals fans, things are heating up fast. Trade talks around Trey Hendrickson are reaching a whole new level, and the latest report reveals a shocking twist that could shake up the defense in a major way. We're talking about what this update really means, how it could impact the Bengals' future, and which teams might be circling around this blockbuster move. But before we dive deeper into the latest news, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, and don't forget to turn on the bell icon so you never miss breaking Bengals updates the moment they drop. All right, let's get straight into the big news surrounding Trey Hendrickson and these growing trade rumors. Cincinnati's final preseason matchup is right around the corner, but instead of the usual excitement, the real buzz is circling one major storyline: Trey Hendrickson. Despite being present at practice, Hendrickson hasn't been participating, signaling clear frustration with his contract situation. And now, the Bengals have reportedly opened the door to listening to trade offers for their star pass rusher. This isn't the first time. Earlier in the year, Hendrickson was even given the chance to explore a potential deal, though nothing materialized. But this time, things feel different. According to multiple insiders, trade conversations have picked up again, and the team most strongly linked to Cincinnati's Pro Bowl defensive end is none other than the Las Vegas Raiders. An anonymous NFL executive reportedly told Sports Illustrated that the Raiders are viewed as a front-runner if the Bengals actually decide to make a move. This connection raises big questions. Why Las Vegas? Why now? And what would it mean for the Bengals' defense if they actually let Hendrickson walk? The anonymous executive didn't hold back in explaining why the Raiders could be serious contenders for Hendrickson. According to him, Las Vegas ownership is in full win-now mode, and their front office isn't afraid to take bold swings if it means upgrading the roster. For a team that sees itself as just one key piece away, Hendrickson is exactly the type of player who can change a defense overnight. But here's the reality. If the Raiders, or any team, want him, it won't come cheap. Cincinnati has made it clear they're not handing over one of the league's most consistent pass rushers without a massive return. Any deal would have to be the kind that shakes the NFL, because the Bengals know Hendrickson's value. The financial side makes this even more complicated. The Raiders recently handed Max Crosby a monster extension worth over $100 million, and Hendrickson's camp is reportedly pushing for a similar figure in the $30 minus $35 million per year range. The sticking point? Guaranteed money. That's where negotiations with the Bengals have stalled, with both sides standing miles apart. It's frustrating for Hendrickson, who has hinted that the team's offers haven't even been close. And while the Raiders technically have the cap space to pull off a deal, the question is, are they willing to commit to another massive contract on their defensive line? If the Raiders truly wanted Trey Hendrickson, they could make the money work and even extend him. The real challenge is what they'd have to give up. Reports suggest Cincinnati isn't just looking for draft picks. They want a package that includes both premium picks and possibly a young impact player. The Bengals are not in the business of letting a star walk for cheap. This is where the conversation gets interesting. Las Vegas does own all of its draft picks for the next cycle, so technically, they have the resources to make a bold move. From their side, Hendrickson could easily be seen as that missing piece, the difference between being a playoff hopeful and a legitimate contender. That's the mindset of a team willing to push chips in for a win-now move. But the Bengals know their history. We've seen this before. Back in 2011, when the Raiders overpaid to land Carson Palmer after his standoff with Cincinnati, the Bengals walked away with a haul of picks that helped reshape the roster. That's the type of return they'd expect for Hendrickson. Something massive, something that forces another franchise to go all in. At the end of the day, this comes down to leverage. Cincinnati doesn't need to move Hendrickson, and they know it. Listening to offers doesn't mean they're preparing to ship him out. It simply means they're gauging the market, setting the price, and keeping the phone lines open. That's just smart business. A lot of this comes back to Bengals owner Mike Brown and what he said not long ago. His stance was very clear. We're not trading Trey. We're working to get him re-signed as we speak. And when Mike Brown digs in, history tells us he usually stands firm. Unless an offer absolutely blows Cincinnati away, The expectation inside the building is that Hendrickson remains a Bengal. Of course, there's always the what if. On paper, pairing Hendrickson with Max Crosby in Las Vegas would form one of the most dangerous pass rushing duos in football. But the price is the sticking point. Would the Raiders really be willing to sacrifice multiple premium draft picks and possibly a young starter just to chase a win-now move? The NFL has seen that strategy before. The Rams went all in by giving up a haul of picks for Matthew Stafford, and it paid off with a Super Bowl, ironically, against Cincinnati. But that kind of success isn't guaranteed. Most front offices today value draft capital almost as much as proven stars, sometimes even more. And that's why this feels unlikely. The Bengals are setting the bar extremely high, knowing full well Hendrickson's value. Unless desperation completely takes over in Las Vegas, Cincinnati's best play might simply be to find common ground on an extension and keep one of their defensive cornerstones right where he belongs. In a perfect scenario, the Bengals would resolve this situation quickly, get Hendrickson back on the field, and have him ready before the season begins. Cincinnati knows how important he is. If he stays, the defense remains one of the strongest in the AFC. If he's traded, however, it changes everything. The Bengals could still push for the playoffs, but their path to another Super Bowl run would become much tougher unless someone else emerges to fill that void. History shows Cincinnati doesn't move off players like Hendrickson easily. It would take an overwhelming offer, the kind of blockbuster deal that forces even a stubborn front office to think twice. And that's why, despite all the noise and speculation, it still feels like Hendrickson in stripes is the most realistic outcome. But in the NFL, surprises are never off the table. The situation is fluid. The rumors keep swirling. And until the contract is finalized, this storyline is going to hang over the Bengals. What happens next could define not just Hendrickson's future, but Cincinnati's entire 2025 season.